An American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. Forever American is what I am.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Real News Live. Glad to have you guys with us tonight as everything is unfolding. Hi, Debbie Martin. Hi, Debbie Rogers. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Richard. Hi, Matt. Hi, Linda. Hi, LJ. Hi, Melinda. Hi, Glinda. Hi, Richard. Oh, lots of Linda, Melinda, Glenda. All of you guys are here tonight. A lot going on out there. Thank you guys for joining us. McCarthy is out as Speaker, as Washington is thrown into more chaos, of course, with all of this happening. McCarthy, though, knew he was under pressure, especially as the vote came to Speaker of the House. First in history to be ousted by a vote in chambers, leaving Washington in chaos, a potentially fatal blow to the Bakersfield Republican's political career. Of course, McCarthy was known this was coming, especially as he worked across the aisle too often, letting Democrats get their way, even though they had control in the House. And that's not the right wings or the right side of the party to do something. Interim Speaker, of course, temporarily is going to be, I forgot his name, but temporary interim Speaker right now Nobody's been elected speaker. Trying to see his name's in there. Can't remember the guy's name. Anyways, we have a temporary speaker for now. Nobody wanted McCarthy anyways. We didn't want him in the beginning. Hopefully Gates does become speaker, but we don't know about that yet. All this, though, of course, causing turmoil with everything else that's going on. The Biden administration tries to, of course, push and reassure allies that continued U.S. support for Ukraine after Congress drops the aid request. Of course, how does he plan on doing this? Probably executive orders. It's pretty much of a joke at this point. Joe Biden, of course, gathered other world powers and, of course, coordinated on Ukraine's battle with Russia. Now, as the war is almost 20 months long. Deliberate show of U.S. support at a time when the future of aid is entangled with volatile fractures of the House Republicans and Democrats who want to cut money off to Kiev. That's not a question. That's been happening. But the saddest part is what's happening in Poland right now. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it on the actual television news anywhere, not even Fox. But world leaders of all NATO nations have been converging in Lublin. Poland. What are they doing? We don't know. They're having some kind of secret meeting there. Amongst other words, that's being called for the United States and, of course, the UK saying they're going to go into Ukraine and train directly there. Well, we already know we have soldiers on the ground there. This is going to be a big problem. And if you're not prepared for World War III, it is coming. If you don't believe we're already in it, we are. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Mike Frommer, President Trump, is being supported for a spot as the Speaker of the House, the Frommer President Trump. If you watch Fox, you'll get that, but it's a freaking joke. Trump being Speaker of the House, yeah, that'd be great. The problem is, if he becomes Speaker of the House, there's so much other stuff happening around him. He won't have time to campaign. He won't have time to go to his trials. He won't have time to actually fight the charges that are against him right now, probably leading to him getting indicted. So yes, I would like to see Trump as Speaker of the House, but at this point, he has too much to fight for. And our country needs to get back to what it used to be, as our military and everything else are stressing. Calls for the draft are being reignited through the Pentagon and military personnel, because Gen Z just doesn't want to join the military. It's ridiculous. The youth today seem to have zero interest in joining the military, and the military can't seem to find out why. They've done studies, conducted polls, even the Army has even known that Gen Z has some serious misconceptions about the military, despite a $4 billion investment in marketing to Gen Z. The combined branches of the military are missing their recruitment goals by nearly 19,000 people this year, which is crazy. Many people in the military and government believe that recruit crisis is a serious national security risk, and it is. But most estimates, if we end up going to war with Russia or China, we'll be losing at least 3,600 soldiers a day in battle. That's between injuries and deaths. It'll be literally a meat grinder if we fight none of them. Both of them would be impossible. And it's falling short of our goals, of course, of having military service members, or so-called Generation Z, not being actively recruiting. Members of that generation, obviously, aren't good at problem solving and solutions, and they don't want to be part of the military. I mean, a lot of the Uncle Sam campaigns are countered by "We don't want you, Uncle Sam" campaign by Generation Z. Members working for the defense technology firms saw how companies jockeying to attract and retain young talent come from anywhere in the country. So why would they go to the military if they can go work for a private military industrial complex that's going to pay them 10 times more? The alert tomorrow is just going to be an alert. But it's crazy because the stuff that's coming up with this whole secret meeting in Poland, the active drills that are happening with Russia in the next couple of days with their nuclear drills, and of course, these nuclear sites, these testing sites, are now being reopened around the world, not just the US, but every country that has nuclear weapons, reopening their nuclear testing sites. They're not claiming to be doing it, but obviously, if you look at the satellite photos and the amount of material being moved and entrenched in these areas, it's obvious. Nuclear testing is going to start back up. Watching this with their military in such shambles, the breakdown of not just soldiers missing, but now, of course, leaders, generals, sergeants, all missing from the military personnel branches. And this is a huge problem. All this happening, of course, and unfolding, while the U.S. can't even handle its own, trying to force a war with Russia and China quicker than we know. One of the islands off Taiwan has been vacated. And now, of course, people are stating that there's a military base being built on it. We agree with China's one China policy. We agree China and Taiwan are one. But yet we're actively trying to fight a civil war with China on that front. That front is nothing. We never stand a chance to get into China that way. Literally, we'll be throwing people against the wall and hoping they stick. That's what's going to happen. Massive losses of military personnel and a war with China or Russia at this point. And if they both decide to turn at once on us, it's over. It's literally game over for the United States. Whether nuclear weapons are used or not. People need to wake up and see this fact and understand what's happening. Russia's active military personnel that are not in war or fighting right now is more than our military personnel total. And they're fighting on two fronts already. So when you have that much military personnel, and then you have China with an active military personnel with almost triple our military, we only have 76,000 reservists, which is a joke at this point. All this unfolding on the eve, of course, of the national tests. We'll find out what that's going to be about tomorrow. But I have a feeling it's just a front runner for what's coming next. To get us prepared to hear those alerts when we go to military battle, truly open up the battlefront. And we're not going to say that we're not in war now, because we are. We're actively in war with Russia, if we want to say we are or not. Military spending says we are. More money has been dumped into Ukraine and, of course, our allies to send equipment to Ukraine than during an active war. So people need to realize what's happening as we wake up and realize we're not a nation that, of course, is doing what it's supposed to do. A nation for its people, by the people. And, of course, today the Biden administration announced that it's a series of indictments and sanctions against 14 people and 14 firms across Canada and China related to importing drugs to the United States, fentanyl, to be more precise. All this going down today going to cause more major China-based problems. And, of course, chemicals being sold to American drug dealers and Mexico-based cartels are coming out of these industries in China and Canada. All but two firms and one of the people targeted and are based in China right now. Mexico and China are primary source of fentanyl and fentanyl-related substances trafficked directly to the U.S., according to the Drug Enforcement Agency. But what do they really know? Because, of course, we know only a very small portion of fentanyl is even stopped at the border. And our southern border is much more highly guarded than our northern border. So the little bit of fentanyl we've caught from Canada is an obvious red flag. Seeing what's happening in Poland, because we're going to go back to that, talk about this because this is important. India, of course, telling Canada to remove 41 of its 62 diplomats in the country. We know, of course, India is a BRICS nation. Telling Canada to remove its diplomats from its country is a stark contrast. As we know, India, of course, has been an ally, or not an ally directly, but an intrinsic ally of that. Watching India's Ministry of External Affairs decline to comment about the ministry spokesperson call to reduce Canada's diplomats in India, saying they are outnumbering India's staffing in Canada. Why is this a double-sided sword? Watching India, of course, and their involvement with China and Iran becoming greater, the U.S. really does have something to fear. We don't know what's coming next. That's very sad. No, because what happened on 9/11, Linda? The Congress does not have to vote for the money going to Ukraine. Biden can sign an executive order and bypass Congress. FEMA's, of course, emergency alert test. Lots of rumors have been spread online. I believe it's just going to be a test tomorrow, but I believe that it's something that or something that's going to move further for a war that's going on with Russia. I think that's the next step. Introducing a new emergency broadcast system that'll send signals to cell phones nationwide, and not just to the cell phones, but interlacing between cell phones, allowing them to use Wi-Fi for phones that aren't even on a network. So, of course, they will use a familiar audio tone that has been used back since the 1960s for the broadcast warning. So don't believe all these claims of tonal deficiencies, but this is a serious question. Yeah, building bunkers in Alaska. Government building bunkers there, and a lot of other things, but this signal that's going to come out tomorrow, the audio tone, is, of course, the audio tone that's been used since the 1960s. So, and your cell phone can't even produce audio waves at the level they would need to theoretically be used to do what they were talking about. The biggest threat, I think, is on the 11th, and nobody's talking about that. When the new 5G signal rolls out, that does interfere with, of course, other things like graphite nanotechnology and nanopolymer technologies. That's a concern to me. Tomorrow is not a big thing. I'm not concerned about that at all. Everyone, regardless of their status, should not be concerned. FEMA is conducting just a routine test of its emergency warning system, and there's no truth to any of the claims that the emitted audio signal that will somehow activate graphite oxides and nanoparticles in the body. It's not possible because it's not even the same wavelength as that signal. It's to understand that people need to understand that's a baseless conspiracy theory. I know a lot of people are throwing things out there that are saying that there's evidence that this could actually do this and this and this. A speaker in most cell phones are aluminum disc with a magnetic, basically, sticker on them that moves that disc for vibration to produce sound. It cannot achieve the sound waves that would be necessary to even break down these things. So it's a good thing for people to understand that don't yet understand that, because this is important information. But the 11th is a problem. And I'll say it again and again. The 11th is a problem. The 11th, we have a new 5G signal rolling out. Nobody's talking about it because it's not being pushed with conspiracy theories and all that other jazz. But as you know, 5G signals and microwave signals are very close to each other. Wi-Fi is even closer, but of course the 5G signal happens to be a resonant frequency of graphite polymers and graphite oxides, which supposedly the vaccines only used in structure. I'm not getting into whether the vaccines have anything in them or not, but I'm going to say supposedly the vaccine only uses it for structure. That's what the vaccine manufacturers state. So We can all take that with a grain of salt. That's the reason it does worry me that, of course, this signal is being rolled out so soon. Of course, they've talked about this emergency broadcast signal being postponed. Could be postponed to October 11th if there's severe weather, other significant events, according to FEMA. Now, I'm making sure I say that because, no, it's a new 5G signal. It's not a 6G. 6G is way off of the prospect field still. But because this was never supposed to happen on the 11th, it was supposed to happen on the 4th. Everybody's been talking about it. But the postponement is the warning that FEMA sent out stating that it could be postponed to October 11th, the same day the 5G signal, the new 5G signal will roll out, if there's severe weather or other significant events. It doesn't say what those events will be. Of course, this process is going to involve two parts: a 30-minute signal sent to radio, television as part of the emergency access system, similarly sent to all consumers' cell phone as part of WEA system, which is a new system used by emergency broadcast, but is not running on 5G. But why would they say this test could be postponed till the 11th? I think more so if people think of the alert tone as the problem and not the 5G activation, especially with all these rumors around these supposedly alert tone causing problems. But supposedly, it'll be only a test. No action is required by the public and nothing will happen. It's crazy. If you guys don't watch like Canadian Prepper or any of the other guys out there that are actually following what's going on with Ukraine and everything else, yeah, go outside and enjoy the outdoors anyways. But if you're not following other guys that are following the stuff, there's a lot of problems. Yeah, Linda, they don't alert people if there's wildfires. They tell people to stay in their homes or stay in their cars, not try to evacuate. We know what happened in Maui. It's a ridiculous offense. All this coming around and everything happening. I mean, the fraud that's happening in the New York case, this New York judge acting like he's the king of everything. The fraud that's happening against Trump and his family is ridiculous, and it's, of course, not going to stop unfolding anytime soon. And I'm going to call it fraud, because it is. It's a freaking joke. For any American standing up and saying there's not a problem with a judge issuing a summary judgment before the actual case, before trial, and taking away assets from a family's business is just unprecedented. American justice system, it's not even fair. It's not even right. Judge is an Epstein Island traveler. Yes, he is. Of course, Trump tried to mention something about the judge's aide being friends with Pelosi, or the judge clerk being friends with Pelosi. Of course, the New York judge is now sent a gag order after Trump's posting about the court clerk. A gag order, so nobody can talk about it. It's a joke. Hunter Biden, of course, pleads not guilty to federal gun charges today. You guys weren't following that. Pleading not guilty to charges related to concealing drugs used when buying a weapon. Concealing drug use when buying a weapon kicks off the battle to beat an indictment for the Justice Department, of course, as House Republicans zero in on impeachment of his father, seeking the tide of both Bidens and wrongdoing, because they are. Biden's court appearance in Delaware today, after the judge denied his request to appear by video conference, comes after initial plea deal and the matters fell apart. So now, of course, these federal charges that he's facing, failing to disclose drug use when seeking to buy a weapon, resulting in 2 charges, as well as for unlawful possession of a firearm while addicted to a controlled substance. This is a joke. Most serious charge carries up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. If they give him a fine, it would be a slap in every American's face, especially with the Democrats pushing gun law, gun control, and trying to put all these red flag laws into place. So if Hunter Biden tries to use any of the Republican arguments to get out of his gun charge, it would be a slap in the face for all of Democrats. And of course, we'll probably see that happen. Sad watching this. Trump has to shut up, otherwise they will imprison him. I'm sorry, but he has to not talk about it. It's disgusting what's happening. But the judge is the ultimate bearer of their courtroom, unless they're taken off the bench. Unfortunately. All this unfolding, just awful time. Awful time. Massive amounts of flights flying in and out of Poland scares me the most, especially with Russia's doing its biggest activation of nuclear provocation yet. Yeah. But it's just sad. Sad state we're living in, sad facts that's happening in America. But I will be live tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Till then, be safe, be sound, and be secure. Be ready for anything. I mean, God forbid if something does happen tomorrow, just be ready. With this secret meeting happening in Poland right now, and knowing several Americans died today in Ukraine, of course, they're saying they were not military members, but we know they were by looking at their records. Just be prepared for anything. God bless you guys. God bless America, at least the country we wish it was still today. Good night.